All right, so I was about, I'm gonna say 12 years old, right? It was an event at the McCormick place, and looking back on it, it must have been a career fair. I thought I was gonna get a job. Right? I thought I was gonna be a working man. So I had this suit on. It was my first time taking public transportation by myself. Took the bus, took the L train, got off downtown, was lost. You know what I'm saying? The McCormick place not downtown. Like, you know what I'm saying? Got off downtown and was lost. And this was my first time seeing so many white people in my life. You know, Chicago's super segregated. I'm on the south side. Only white people you see is the police. Other than that, you'll see some Arabs at the grocery store. You might see a Mexican sprinkle here or there. But you're not seeing like white people. I didn't have white teachers, none of that at the time. Well, I was in upbringing. I'm on 77th and Polina. That's where I'm living at the time. Or I might have been Rosen by this time. Anyway, when I get lost, I start stopping people and trying to ask for directions. And I say, hey, excuse me, where you? And they like, I don't got no change. And kept walking.
God damn.
And it happened multiple times. And it was like super discouraging. It was super weird. And it was super like, this is my first experience with white people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm raised by, you know, two Southerners, Little Rock, Alabama, my grandparents. And they like, you don't have a white friend, don't ever date a white woman.
Right.
You know, you date a white woman, you going to jail. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, that was what I was taught about white people from, you know, Southerners who went through sharecropping, which is slavery. You know, I always say, like, Juneteenth coming up, 1865, slavery became illegal. Right. Didn't end. Like, right. You know what I'm saying? So, this is my upbringing. This is my first experience, and it was just very mind blowing. It was my first time being a black face in a white space.
If you lazy, you waking up at fucking 3 o'clock in the afternoon and shit like that,
popping bottles,
you're setting the tone for everybody because you're the leader.
Popping pills.
That's just what comes with being a man.
Popping bitch ass niggas.
I don't want nobody making decisions over my life except me. Not a woman, not a judge, not an officer, not no motherfucking body.
When them bullets hit him up, look like son had a seizure. Run up, give it up, you know the procedure. I be sipping Jack and honey.
I don't think nothing can make me feel like a man. I don't think nothing can make me not feel like a man.
Chains on my collar.
You can't take the benefits of being a man without the responsibilities.
Give you niggas halos on God in the king.
Today, man, welcome back to Roses I Dead. Still Terry Roseland.
I'm still Jones. It's funny, Shorty, at the meeting we had earlier.
Yeah.
He's like, still Terry?
That's sure. And we got a special guest, man.
Definitely.
We got a special guest. You want to introduce yourself, brother?
Kevin White.
Kevin White, the GOAT of fucking nightlife right now. He going on a crazy run.
I didn't want to say too much.
When you think of parties, you thinking of Kevin White. Like, the nigga got the city on lock
Chicago
right now.
Chicago parties, yeah.
Appreciate you.
For sure. Like, he's throwing the best parties right now, 100%. Like,
how do you feel about the impact you having right now in Chicago social scene?
I like it. One of the biggest things for me is just kind of like reviving that social scene.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people. For me, anytime I go out, homies, shorties, like, we gonna turn that bitch up.
Yeah.
So it's more so seeing what people are doing and like the feedback that I was seeing like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So like me was different for me. I'm like, I'm the host. I want you to have a good time. I ain't even got to spend no money, but I'll put $400. Let's go get some shots. Let me integrate people like this, that, the third. But nonetheless, it's more so, like I said, having a good time, dancing, none like judgmental zone. You've been down to the Red Room before. It's just like, it's good energy. It's good people. It's like, want to get away from heavy bottle service culture. You know,
I like that about your situations.
but more so dancing, interacting, networking. A lot of people that come to my events are, whether they prominent people in Chicago, athletes, whatever, but it's just a welcoming environment. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people now on the scene don't remember the club scene before sections.
No.
Right. The club scene before sections, you had a VIP, maybe one, maybe two, and it was a big ass dance floor. So if you ever seen, you don't have to call by Usher the video. If you ever seen Hide Here by, well, motherfuckers be like, oh, I thought the club was gonna be like Hiding Here by Nelly. It was like that.
Right.
It's not anymore because they put couches everywhere and now there's no room to interact. And if you're not in a section, you damn near feel a little weird. You are bringing that aspect back with your events, and I appreciate that. Also, the impact is national. When I went to the Red Room the last time at In Session, that was the most transplants I had ever met.
Yeah.
that was when I say transplants. I know someone's like trans. Hold on, you know, some niggas are still niggas. Niggas ain't like caught up.
Yeah.
So meaning that people from other cities, like Chicago, from my experience, is not a place where you're gonna meet a ton of people that's not from here. It's a lot of natives. But when I was meeting a lot of women who was like, yeah, I'm just visiting. I just came out for this, and I'm just like, that's gonna change. Do you realize the impact of that?
Yeah, so like something that I say like all the time, like if you look at my social media, especially like my TikTok, I don't have no recaps on TikTok. It's people coming to the event, shooting their own video. I like it very organic. Like I'll do recaps here and there, but everything don't need like a video because you can really make anything look fun or look like you having a good time. I want the people to come and they go speak that into the universe. So a lot of people come, they get on TikTok, they get on Instagram, their videos go viral. So it's organic traffic versus me trying to like create the image that it's a good time.
Absolutely.
What did you see like in Chicago nightlife that you saw was missing, that you felt that you could, you know what? I feel like if I come in and I do XYZ, it'll pop. Because before you came along, obviously nightlife was going on.
Yeah.
But it's always like an outlier that comes in and like they see a need. So what was that need that you saw? Like where'd you get your vision from?
Yeah, and like that's kind of something I was talking about. It's more so like me hosting the party versus like the party is happening, right? So if y'all were to come to anything, you know, anywhere in Chicago, you're going to a party versus me, people are associating the party with myself and they see the energy. Like my whole family, we are party nightlife people. I was at the gym last night. At my pop's FaceTime, and he live in Atlanta at a hookah lounge on a Wednesday. I'm like, what are you doing? It's 10:45. He's like, we outside. Like that's just us. That's our family. So it's more so the energy. So when people see me, I'll be calm in a t-shirt and some sweats, pouring shots behind the bar or talking to people, taking pictures or whatnot. So you feel that energy in the room. So now you might want to dance. You might want to talk to somebody. You feel a little bit more open versus you go somewhere and everybody is just sitting and staring at people. Now you got to let me chill out, you know, versus you come to anything that I do, everybody is kind of like up tempo. And I want you to move. I want you to get around. Like I turn down a lot of venues because it's like, it's bottle service program. Bottle service is good for the venue, you know, to generate money, but there's ways to program around it where you can have a fun environment, where you could have people in there 4 or 5 days a week and your numbers are good versus just Friday, Saturday, just to program bottle service. So it's more so bringing like the energy to the venue and not programming so much around the optic.
I don't know if you want to hear like I'm sure you do, an outside perspective on your events, right?
Yeah.
Because we're just getting to know each other type shit. And I've been in Red Room maybe 2 or 3 times. So now, like if I see your name on the flyer, one thing that come to my head is the DJ gonna be fire. Diversity is gonna be like not necessarily a hood crowd. I'm gonna just be real. Like we're way past that stage. I don't want to be going to places where niggas smell like weed and you know.
Right.
I just don't like those environments no more.
I'll be worried about getting shot smelling like weed. That's the least of my worries.
Wait, what you worried about?
A shooting.
The niggas who shooting smell like weed, probably. But no, I just know it's not gonna be that. It's gonna be an environment where I can kind of let my guard down because I grew up on the east side of Chicago, and I just want a different, you know, vibe. I want a dope nightlife experience.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I see your name on there, I'm like, oh yeah, we can slap with that.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that goes into like how I present myself on the internet, you know, as well. And then also I know so many people. Like that's how I grew up. Like I grew up in white private school. Then I've been to 2 high schools. I went to Nebraska on top of just coming back to Chicago and really connecting and interacting with a lot of people. So it's more so people gravitate towards myself. And then also on the social media scene, you got people just like y'all was saying, like all in different states, environments that want to come to Chicago, or even people that are not so tapped into nightlife. They like, let me go see what bro talking about, you know.
Your TikTok presence, because that's when I first got a hold of you.
Yeah.
How did you what was your content like before you know, start talking about like nightlife? So how did you transition and be kind of the face of what's going on in Chicago? I feel like even me, if I'm looking for something to do that weekend, I dead ass will go to your TikTok and just scroll to see like what he talking about.
Yeah.
So what was your content like before that?
Yeah, it was literally 100% corporate career content. So I wanted to establish some level of platform. I'm like, okay, how can I do that authentically? So everybody want to make money. Everybody needs a job, like all of that shit. And I was a first generation like college graduate. So it was easy for me to talk about that. But I'm like, let me really dive into Chicago culture. Cause like my dad, my uncle, they are heavy partiers. So we've always been around that. So then I first started diving into like Chicago restaurants with good cocktails, good ambiance, like good date spots, right? Then one of my business partners, he hit me up. He was from LA. He moved to Chicago. He was like, yo, you want to promote a party for me? I'm like, shit, I ain't never done that.
Yeah.
He was like, every time I look up anything in Chicago, you keep coming up, millions of views. I was like, come on, let's do it. So promoted his party. This was 2024, St. Patty's at the Delta in Wicker. Sold it out 4 or 5 days, like 160 tickets. I'm like, cool. He was like, I ain't never sold out no party. I was like, oh shit, let's keep it going. So then we did Puttery over the summer, like 400 tickets in like 5-6 days. I'm just jaded from the numbers because I'm on social media.
That's a lot, bro.
Yeah, like I didn't even realize it for real. But then he was like, bro, like this shit is crazy. Like, let's keep it going. Like, you need to do it yourself as well. So then I went and did a big end of summer party. I had like 550 people there. Then I was like, let's just go. Let's just go. So
Fire.
For sure. All right, man. Let's jump into how's that week? Had a smooth week?
man.
Smooth.
Highlights, lowlights. What's up?
What happened this week? This week been real consistent. Like ain't been nothing really going on. No high, no low. It's like the bye week also to hear back from those tech companies. So one of them. But yeah.
Yeah, I ain't got no low lights. April on purpose is calm just because May, June, July, August gonna be crazy. So they cooler.
For sure. Great week for me, man. It's some highlights, man. This nigga's capping. So this nigga's birthday, his birthday's tomorrow.
And nigga, we ain't know. I ain't get to that part.
Nigga, whatever. Nigga TJ birthday, we celebrating that tomorrow.
Yeah.
The accountability group hit 100.
Okay, I'm tripping.
That happened in the last week. So we celebrating that tomorrow. What else? I got a promotion.
He got kicked out.
Yeah. I got a promotion.
There we
know
go.
What I'm saying? So we celebrating that. Appreciate it. And then I didn't even have the interview for it. They just called me and told me. Like,
yeah, they've been warning you.
Yeah, I appreciated that. We had a meeting with the mayor's office this morning.
Yes.
Yeah, and they said yes to everything that we wanted to do.
Which was surprising.
Fire.
Yeah, and we found a sponsor for Rose Gold 2026 already that's going to pay for it. So, pretty good. We're doing pretty good, man. It's a great week.
It is.
No lowlights.
Fuck the bullshit. Those are good highlights.
Those are good.
Those are good highlights.
For sure, man. Outside of that, Patreon today, we got Kevin White with us. We're gonna talk about some events. We're gonna talk about some nightlife shit. If he got some crazy stories, that's where they'll be told.
I know he got crazy stories. He in the nightlife.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll tell us one.
You got a new board? Okay. Is your mic on the new board? Yes. Probably not.
My mic is on the new board. I got a new board. Oh, hold on.
Do something on the new board that you couldn't do before.
We don't even know what the nigga did.
Put a clap on that motherfucker. You can do that to the last one.
Oh, I can hear the voice changes.
Oh, you can hear that shit?
Yeah.
All right.
Take it off, but yeah. I can.
For sure. So, that's pretty much it on the week, man. Let's jump into this motherfucking topic. We're gonna skip over the voicemails for today. We're gonna jump straight into it, man.
Yeah.
So the topic today is we talking about like the cost of conformity. So basically how this topic came about, scrolling on TikTok, see a Kevin White post come up, and you're talking about your upbringing. You know what I'm saying? Very transparent post about being a black face in white spaces. You told some quick stories about microaggressions. You talked about how there's a thought process in the black community of having to leave the black community and that's the only way to elevate, get a better education and things like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to start around that part about the mindset that we have to separate from our culture to do better. Almost as if being black is holding you back, which in ways it's designed that way. But if we accept that thought, what happens to the community at that point? So that would be my first question. What do y'all think about the mindset, or if it's not a mindset, maybe it's actually a truth that you have to separate to get a better education or to be successful? What do y'all think about that?
It comes from, you gotta think about who thinks like that. Like we don't think like that anymore because we've evolved. Like we've been in a bunch of different spaces, niggas done traveled, everything like that. But let's backtrack before we start doing all of that. If you think about the average young man's experience or just young black person experience and what they're growing up around, it's not too much success around them, right?
Right.
So even now, like if they look at social media or just any other outlet that's away from their neighborhood, it looks like success over there. So naturally, you're gonna be like, you looking around like, ain't shit going on over here. I gotta leave, or I gotta get away from where I'm at to have real success because I don't see success around me. So that's where it kind of like,
For sure.
Yeah, to like even touch on that, it just starts from the generations like before us, right? So like that video you talking about, me and my pops talked about it. My dad had to move out when he was 13. Okay. Right? So he was damn near full-fledged adult as a teenager. Mind you, think about when you was 13. I'm really kid, damn near playing.
7th grade, 8th grade.
Yeah, playing with a Game Boy still, like cool. And he was figuring out life, right? So he was 13, moved out, bounced around Detroit. He went to Lane Tech, was going back and forth to Lane Tech in Detroit, as a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid, right? They went to the Army. So by the time he was 19, 20, he was literally like, that was his world. He had like 7 years of quote unquote adulthood. So thinking when he had me, I need to put him in XYZ school. So like private school where he could not be around everything that I was around.
So overcorrection, maybe.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So looking at how like I grew up and like different things, I was only around white people, right, growing up. But since I was 25, I'm 29 now, it's just like, even like tying into nightlife, the GMs, owners, they notice there's nothing like the black dollar. The black dollar damn near keep nightlife afloat. So even back on like the education piece, it's like what the past generations have gone through, like molded what probably people around my age had to go through in a sense of black children in private school thinking like, okay, this is going to be good for you, but not really understanding what's going to come with that as the only black kid in the school. So,
Right. And you was the only black kid in school.
yes. There was, so like, I went to Southwest Christian in Oak Lawn, like right by Richards High School. So I was the only black kid in my class all up until 7th grade. Then we had another black girl. So as soon as she got to the class, Kevin, you got you a girlfriend? You got you a
that's
girlfriend?
crazy.
Not even thinking of it like at that time, but then like thinking back on it, like that's crazy,
Yeah. And I went through. I think that even my parents, they had the idea that leaving the neighborhood or just not going to school in the neighborhood was better. Now I didn't go to an all white school, but I did go to a private school.
Yeah.
And it was a thing where when I did go to public school, it wasn't like being around all white people and now you're around black people, but it was like, it's like this assumption that the hood is the blackest place you can be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like we get into like Drake not being black enough, right? Or you get into like, and that's a little different because he's biracial, but even me as a fully blown black person going to a private school with all black kids, when you transfer and go to public school and you're in the hood and you get introduced to gang culture that don't exist over there, it's almost like you talking proper, your mannerisms are different. It's like you're not one of us.
You're not like us.
Yeah.
Now the dangerous part of that is that it kind of equates blackness and poverty. To be the blackest you can be, you have to be poor. Or you have to come from some level of gang culture or some shit like that.
Yeah.
That's obviously a dangerous thing to do because now people thrive to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody from outside the hood want to get into the hood. The niggas in the hood trying to get out the hood. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm not gonna lie, I participated in that my whole life. I felt the same way. I adopted that mentality of like, if you're not from this environment, then you can't really tell me nothing about being black. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's super harmful.
With Trey, so I got a son. He just turned 14, which is fucking insane. But yeah, I didn't go to like private school or anything like that. I was in CPS the whole time or whatnot. And when Trey, as he started to get older and it's time to like look for schools, we started out in the city. He was going to school in the city, but no lie, like I'm like, I don't think he could survive in this shit. Like I don't think he could be around, kids from like just not only you from the inner city, but they're outside.
Yeah.
They jumped off the porch already. They run around by themselves, 8, 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? They out in the streets or whatever.
And when you still learn how to cross the street.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And when you outside that early, you become very witty, smart, manipulative. It's a lot of bad shit that go into like, you know, the negative connotation of kids in the hood. But to be like that, you got to be smart to survive.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? You got to be slick. You got to have some finesse to you and shit like that. So those kids have all of that. And Trey, my son, he's growing up around nothing but love. It's like no aggression at all. Like the nigga village is insane. You know what I'm saying? Like he got support everywhere. Like we overly love this boy. Yeah. And I'm like, he's not gonna make it in these environments. So we moved to the burbs and put him in school out there. But like even in the burbs though, now, like it's diversity. He got plenty, like the weekend I just took him to I just had a birthday weekend. I booked him a hotel with his friends. It was all black. One kid was a Hispanic. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So he's still around black kids, but it's that, you know how it's different. In the burbs, it ain't like the city. You know what I'm saying? Right. So just that those different night and day cultures of suburban and in the hood, in my mind, I'm like, it's gonna be better if he's out here.
Yeah. Right. That's like, even like for me, like my closest friend is white, right? He's like my brother. That's how we grew up. Like our families are so integrated. But it wasn't until, so my first high school I went to was Lincoln Way West for 2 years. Then the basketball program was shitty. So I went to Stag. And my first two like real black friends, Anthony Gardner and Nick Sims, like it just felt so different as somebody 17 years old. Like you finding people that are like you. You know, it's a different, like me talking to my homies and everybody I grew up white, totally different, whether like you said, mannerisms, lingo, things that we could talk about, music, you know, women, all of that. I'm just like, yo, like, and we were together every day. I never felt that. I'm like, yo, this is totally different than just being with my white homies, you know? Yeah.
So what were some of the differences though? I mean, you named some of the differences, but was it a hard transition for you? Was it smooth? Like, do you feel like, because I think a lot of times you fall into a situation where with the white kids, you're black, so you're outcasted. But then when you get around the black kids because of your mannerisms, then it's like you're still outcasted because it's like you different. Yeah. So did you experience that at all?
It wasn't like hard for me because like my cousins are also like my brothers as well. So like my dad and my dad's brother, my uncle, he had 4 kids, right? So I'm 29. My oldest cousin, he just turned 30. I got 2 twin cousins, Taylor and Tyler. They're about to turn 28 later this month. So we all grew up together. And then we also played basketball. I was at AAU. I was around black people, but then it damn near was shut off.
Right.
Monday through Friday.
Got you. So you still had some.
Yeah, I still was around like black people, but it was just like it damn near was. Thinking about like the movie like ATL, like in London. Like she would go to the skate rink, and then bro caught her at the crib on some fratty shit. Like, what are you doing? So like that's just kind of like I was just kind of programmed like that. I couldn't talk about some of the things that I want to talk about because nobody knew about that. Okay. I couldn't be lax, but you know how black people, we like to bullshit. We like to make fun of, like, be like, whatever, like, I'm gonna get on you, like, whatever. Do that to some of your white homies, they damn near crying. I'm like, let me tone it down. So it wasn't much of a shift. It was more so like, this feels right. You know, it feels right. So
I was gonna ask, like, because the way you told the story, it's like you just been around, you know, white people your whole life. But I can also, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I can see your blackness. You know what I'm saying? So I was wondering, like, where did that come from if you was around white people, you know, your whole life? But like you said, you had cousins, you know what I'm saying, your pops, and like you was around that side of your family enough to have that, you know, intangible part of the culture that we have. So that's oh right. I wanted to backtrack to the classroom. Yeah. When the first black girl came, right? When she transferred into the school, how did you see that? Like, what was that experience like for you? Was it like, oh shit, like what? I don't even want to paint the picture myself. Right. I'm gonna let you go do it.
It was, I damn near kind of, it sounds crazy, but like I resented her just because everybody in the class was just like go talk to her. Like, you should be with her. Like, that could be your girlfriend. I was like, yo, cool out. Like, just because she looked like me, like,
Yeah.
let me see who she
That's
is.
insane,
Like, you know,
bro.
let's just like get to know each other because she played basketball too. And I was the best basketball player in my middle school. Y'all could be like that movie, Loving Basketball,
God.
like all that shit. So I was like, I'm like, yo, can y'all like chill out? So damn near like,
You just finna turn up on their ass.
for the first like month and a half, I didn't really want to like be around her for real because it was always like people was just like saying shit. But then like me and her just got cool. Like we just got cool. We used to hoop. We used to practice together, like all of that shit. And her name was Symphony. Real cool girl, but like people would always just like, shit, you got somebody that looked like you, that shit. They would always say like, even though you're the most popular kid in the school, like none of the girls like you, you know, because you're black. You know, they would say shit like that. So then when she came, they're like, y'all gonna be together, you know? So it's...
Did you ever, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Did you ever resent your position though? Because it's just like, all right, I remember being in college, right? And I don't play basketball. I just don't play basketball, right?
Yeah.
But I'm in college. I'm in like this class where we had to hoop. Like it was like a gym class type shit. We got to hoop, and I'm with all white kids. And they know I went to Simeon. And they like, oh, Derrick Rose was Simeon. I'm like, yeah, he was a grade ahead of me. He like, nigga, you went to Simeon? You can't hoop? Like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and like around all black people, I don't give a fuck. But I'm now in the class of white people, feel like, do I gotta hoop for these niggas? like what do I like? What's up? Like now it's like I feel kind of like weird that I never felt weird that I couldn't hoop before. Now I feel weird. So like, did you feel like a stereotype a little bit being the best basketball? Do you feel like you had to be the best basketball player because you black? Do you feel like a stereotype even being popular for being black? Would you feel like you was popular for being black or popular for being the best basketball player?
It was more so like sports. So like I was the best athlete at that school. Like I had all of the records of basketball. Like that shit was at the most points like in the 7th grade game, like 39 points. Like I was like nice, right? Yeah. But it was more so like some of the shit that people would say, it wasn't crazy. It's just like, okay, kids are becoming teenagers. They want to make fun. They want to joke. But it didn't really affect me that much just because I was the most popular middle schooler as well. So some of the shit I was like, like whatever. But it would be different. Let's say I was a lame or a little bit weird
like
or
a
whatnot.
Nerd,
like a nerd.
Kid,
And people didn't want to gravitate towards it. I was the best basketball player. I was the fastest kid on the track team. And I scored the most goals for our soccer team. I was just the best athlete. Yeah. So like
they wanted to be you.
Right. So just like whatever. All of the motherfuckers like in the middle school, 6, 7, 8, especially when I was in 8th grade, they damn near looked up to me. But it was still like the subtle, just like things that you would say that when you grow up, you're like, wait, that was crazy as shit. You know?
That was a little racist.
Right, exactly.
Nah,
you being you reminded me of how I feel like you didn't experience that much racism because of your athleticism.
Correct. Correct.
Because if you think about think of shit like it's a movie shit. But just think of athletes, black athletes in a predominantly white school, like college or whatever case may be, they not experience, they kind of like favored or whatever, versus you didn't even have to be like a lame or not a lame or nerd. You could have just been like a regular black. I feel like if you was a regular black student who had the same athleticism as them, your experience would have been like totally different.
Correct.
For sure.
Me and my pops, we talk about that like all the time. It's just like, you were lucky in the sense that you was the best because you didn't have to deal with a lot of shit. Now, mind you, the private school I was in was a little bit different than like certain private schools. Like, let's say, so I can't even think of like some of the like private high schools like out in like the South Side, but it was much smaller and condensed. So like the drop off from like, we'll call it the 3 popular kids, like me, my homie Blaine, like Nathan, Leo, and then it was just very regular. So everybody else just looked up to us. But like I said, you would still get that.
How many kids was in high school? Would you say?
So private school. So like we went class to class. So it was 24 of us.
24 seniors type shit, like 24 years.
Oh no. So in high school, I went to Lincoln Way West and then Stagg High School. Stagg and Payless Hill. So Stagg, we graduated like 3,000. But private school, preschool through 8th grade, I was with the same kids from 1st grade all the way to 8th grade. So it was 24 kids in the class, and then once 2nd grade came, we all in 2nd grade. 3rd grade, we all in 3rd grade. So we grew up with the same people. Then you might have somebody leave, and then you have a new kid in the class, you know, shit like that. So, But it was different when I was in 5th grade, and then we went to junior high, so 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. That's when like the older kids, like when I was in 6th grade with 11, 12, you got like the 14-year-olds. They was a little bit rougher person. They was in private school, but like they like to talk shit a little bit. So
Private school is different. Was y'all getting your ass whooped? We was getting our ass whooped.
no.
None of the private shit? You missed that era.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the early 90s. We was getting our ass torched. You talking in line, niggas like, what's 9 plus 7? You don't know? Add that shit up from the torch yo, whatever the number is. Like, you don't know your timetable, you talking in class? Nigga, they was torching us in that motherfucker.
I didn't have to deal with none of that.
That shit was crazy. But let's talk about microaggressions, right? Yeah. So you like Jones was just saying you didn't have to experience a lot of blatant racism, right? But the microaggressions are always there.
I feel like that's a little worse.
And a lot of times, it's not bad intentions, right? But it's like a
lack of understanding.
A lack of understanding.
Right.
So like we all know that like let me touch your hair, like stuff like that. You made a comment about they asked you why you brushing your hair with a horse brush or not understanding the value of shoes in the black community, shit like that. Can you go into some of those?
Yeah, so like obviously when every black kid damn near was younger, you just had like low C's or like low cut. So I remember going into middle school, so 6th grade, going into school with like the do-rag on, right? I had a little beanie with the do-rag. I remember I took my beanie off. I'm in the hallway, my locker. 2 like 7th graders like, what are you wearing on your head? Like, what is that? I'm like, it's a do-rag. It's to keep my hair laid down. Lay down, you're bald. You're bald. Of course, right at that same time, my brush fall out my pocket. What the hell, bro? Got a horse brush? You brushing his hair? This, that, the third. I went back to my mom's like, I'm not wearing that do-rag into the school. And my mom wasn't for that. She said, nah, you're going to take your do-rag off once you get to your locker.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, all right. So, you know, shit like that. But also, it's more so, like I said, it's the not understanding, like, black culture, like, at all. So, the horse brush was a lot. God forbid, like, motherfuckers put out some lotions, some Jergens or whatnot. What the fuck you doing that for? I'm just like, and I'm explaining it to him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, it's cold out. We just was outside. My hands, my legs is ashy. What you need lotion for? Like, you get ashy, you're white, your skin's cracking. Like, what are you doing, you know? Yeah. So it was a lot of, like, hearing those microaggressions and going back to my mom, because my mom and my dad, like, they got divorced when I was an infant. I'm like, why do I need to do this? You know, why do I need to brush my hair? Why do nobody else does that but me? You know, why do I need to bring my lotion? Why do I need to do X, Y, Z? Like,
you had the Vaseline in one time?
Vaseline.
I know they was on your ass over the Vaseline.
Why you so shiny, bro?
Vaseline.
They was on our ass in a black school. That was an all-white school with Vaseline.
My mom had me with, you know, like long johns. Like in the winter time when I was wearing them, I remember I took my little snow pants off. They said, what are you wearing, bro? Like, I would always, like, for a while, go back to my mom, like, I can't do this because I'm the only one that is doing shit like this. My mom she wasn't going for it. She was like, this is what we do. This is who we are. So you're going to have to roll with it. Mind you, she was saying that too, just like I said. I was the most liked, popular kid. So she kind of already knew, like, that's just talk. You're going to be okay, you know. But somebody else might not go through that.
So we got to give mom a round of applause.
Yeah, mom's still on business.
That's not nothing to gloss over, right? And I'm glad you said that because not only was she, like, instilling your confidence in you, like, all right, they talk they shit and you're questioning yourself, but I'm reaffirming, like, no, you're going to wear your fucking do-rag to your locker, right? So she was instilling the confidence in you, but she also was defending your blackness because you could have lost that. You know what I'm saying? And then I think a lot of people who are in that space, especially if they get accepted into that, whether they get accepted or not, if they are more of that culture to the where it's like, I'm not gonna wear my do-rag, I'm not gonna get a lining, cause like you know, like on some stuff like that, just like shit. But, like, you know, like you get into that culture, but then when you try to come back to black culture, now they're pushing you away because you're different, and now you resent black people. And I got friends like that. I got friends who really have a resentment towards black people because, especially if they're biracial, because it's like, man, I get more acceptance. People gonna go with a love at the end of the day.
Facts.
And black people could be rougher. Like, you know what I'm saying? We could be real rough on people. So,
and still love you.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what kind of, that's the thing is like, even though I fuck with you, I'm still on your ass. I'm still finna bake your ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and if you don't understand it, it's difficult to adapt to. So shout out to moms for defending your blackness and instilling that confidence in you. That's super dope.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Moms and just his village, pops, cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they kept that together. You know what I'm saying? They that was a reminder of where I come from,
Exactly.
who I am. You know what I'm saying? How my people really are. Even though I am going over here in this space where nigga, all y'all different. If you didn't have that to go back to, even if it was like you said, on the weekends, even if, you know what I'm saying, whenever you was kicking it with your people, if that wasn't the case, you could kind of like be like some of the other black people who, you know, grew up in those environments and they just totally conformed to it. And
You become whitewashed. Right? That's what
Yeah.
happened. Yeah.
Some of the microaggressions I've experienced, like I told you, I taught at the Sundown Town. You know what Sundown Town is? So Sundown Town is a place where classically, like traditionally, if a black person is in this town after night, you could kill them and not be penalized, right?
Yes.
So Anna, Illinois is a sundown town. It's the Anna is ANNA. That's the real name of it is Anna, but they coined it ain't no niggas allowed, right? I taught there. My real name. I ain't gonna say my real name. Okay. Anyway, because of what my real name is, I guess the advisor just assumed I was white and just like sent me over there. And my first date, nigga, I wasn't paying attention to college. I didn't look at where I was supposed to go to the morning I was supposed to be there. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, but the teachers was on our ass. Like, if you miss the first day of student teaching, you're out of this program. Like, you cannot miss day one. You can't really miss no days, but if you miss day one, you smoke.
yeah.
So I gotta be there at 8. It's like 7 o'clock. The office not even open to call them and tell them to change this shit. My homie's like, bro, you might be out the program, nigga. You better not go down there. Like, what the fuck is you doing? I drive out there like, fuck it. And that's where I experienced a ton of microaggressions as an adult for the first time. And some of those things was some of the kids thought I was innocent shit though. Thought I was in the NBA. And nigga, I'm 5'9". But it's like, you black and you here. You hear the teachers out of hoop. Like, you play for the Bulls or Lakers. Like, that's the third grade. The second graders was really running up to me like, you play for the Bulls or the Lakers? Like, you here to tell the teachers how to hoop? Ooh, I'm like, nigga, no. Like, what are you talking about? Like, Mike Brown happened. A lady walked up to me out the blue, stopped me, and was like, "Hey, why are they using a picture of him in his graduation cap and gown on the news like he wasn't a criminal?" I'm like, "What?
That's crazy.
What kind of question is that?"
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck do it matter? Like, he was a kid. He graduated high school. What are we talking about? So, it was a ton of other shit. Well, a lot of that shit was more blatant than that. But you ever experienced some microaggressions on the racial side?
In the workplace, yeah, I was working for, I think it was my first time like in the insurance industry, and I was being trained by like, you know, one of the people that worked there. He trained me and whatnot, and everything is new to me, so I'm green as hell to how their process is going and just the insurance in general, right? So he's training me, and like I think I was responsible for putting together like some type of list to reach out to customers or some shit like that or whatever. But all this is new, so I'm learning this like on the fly.
Right.
And I don't know if this was microaggression, but me and him, we talked about, he was like, okay, yeah, you got to create this list. Like, we're going to have a meeting later in the week, but we'll get around to it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I'm like, all right, cool, bet. And when we get in the meeting, you know what I'm saying, in front of everybody, he like, yo, did you do that spreadsheet I told you to do? I'm like, nigga, we supposed to work on that together. I'm like, but I was so caught off guard. And in that moment, first of all, I didn't know how to like really answer it. Like professionally, I'm young, and I felt a little slow. I felt, you know, belittled. I felt embarrassed, and I wanted to like go on his ass, like, nigga, because I felt like you did that on purpose.
Right.
We had a whole conversation separately about this, and it was like once we got around like our superiors, you kind of wanted to make me seem like I didn't understand my job. You know what I'm saying? I don't follow directions. And just coming into, and I was in the insurance, if y'all know, like in the insurance, nigga, it ain't black people really in insurance for real.
Right.
That type of insurance, it was commercial insurance. That's like an old industry where a bunch of white people is at, for real. Mm-hmm. And so coming into it, I already felt like a disadvantage. And so to experience that, to make it seem like I don't know what I'm doing, and I did know what I was doing, you're supposed to be teaching me, it was like some real, I'm like, I feel a little slow right now.
Nah, for sure.
I want to whip his ass. I ain't gonna lie.
Nah. I remember one time I was shopping with this chick I was dating, her friends. and we was in like, is it called Akira? The spot where
That's
the
what
chick shop at?
That's a shop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they was moving around by the shoes, and there was this white lady. She was like a Russian lady or something like that. But I thought she was American. Like I didn't. She wasn't talking and nothing, so I couldn't really hear the accent. So she kept like walking in front of what, like they'd be looking at something, and she would literally walk in front of them, like they're this close to the shit they looking at, and she would squeeze in front of them and just start looking at what she wanted.
Yeah.
It was like, are we being pranked in this bitch? Like, where the fuck is Ashton Kutcher? Like, what the
Right.
fuck is going on? Like, it was mind blowing, and she did it multiple times. So they're like, and it's fucked up. It's like, if it was a black girl did, y'all would have whooped her the first time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all give this bitch a lot of grace. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I end up saying something to her. I'm like, hey, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, stop doing that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? What the fuck is going on? And she had a lady that was with her, and she was an assist. She was like, well, first of all, she don't understand English. And back in our home country, you know, it's not that she's racist. Like, she's famous in our home country. And, you know, she's famous, and, you know, she kind of does what she wants to do. I'm like,
Better get that shit together.
this bitch finna make the news here. Like, what are you talking about? Like, motherfucker, stretch this lady in this motherfucker. Like, what the fuck? And that was like, I don't know, that's not a microaggression. That's like dead on. But one thing I do notice is just like, when it comes to space, you talked about this on your
Today.
story. Was it today?
That was today. I was just as you telling this story, I'm
Yeah.
downtown today, right?
Yeah.
I leave Zara. I'm walking back to my car. I think I'm on not Michigan. I'm on State Street headed towards Lake.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So, you know, downtown, a lot of motherfuckers walking. White people downtown, they have like sidewalk privilege.
They don't move.
They don't move.
They don't move.
So I see the lady. She is walking like right in my lane. We're both in each other's lane, but she just had this aura like I was just gonna be like, oh, excuse me.
Right.
And I didn't do that. And we walked there, and she started to move, and we got right here. Nigga, I tightened my shoulder up and shoulder checked her.
Yeah.
And she ain't say nothing. And kept going. But I started doing that years ago. Like,
Yeah.
I remember when I'd be downtown, and I noticed that nobody had to tell me. Like, black people, we're just courteous. You know what I'm
just
saying?
move
We're
out the way.
nice. We're
Right.
forgiving. We're all of these things. So if somebody coming, and especially if it's a woman, just how I was raised, you know what I'm saying? I'm walking downtown like I'm in a fucking maze.
Right.
I'm like, hold on, man.
Yeah, I experienced that too.
We ain't finna do this.
Yeah.
I showed checking motherfuckers.
I think a word to kind of encompass everything that you said about black people being forgiven and all that. I think we're just communal, right? And that kind of brings me to my next talking point: is reclaiming black culture an act of healing. And what I mean by that is, like, regardless of what type of space you was raised in, white or black, we all are in capitalism, and with capitalism comes individualism. You're thinking about what's the best for I and not what's the best for we. And that kind of kills a lot of anything that's like that could be a black movement that fights against oppression. Once you start thinking about how good I can do as an individual and how much money I can make and things like that, all of that shit over with. All that revolution shit is out the fucking window. Like, y'all niggas can go out here and protest y'all want to. I'm good. Like, I just made 200 this year. Fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's something that we all learn.
Yeah.
And I think that one thing I'm learning, and I think it is act of healing, is getting back to like actual blackness. We're a very communal people, and that shit matters more than business. That shit matters more than the individual. It matters more than how much money we make. And like through the communities through the village, through the Patreon, all of that, we're building these communities, and it's more gratifying and fulfilling than making money.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because making money, no matter how much you make on a specific day, 10 years later, that amount of money ain't even that amount of money no more.
Facts.
And you don't even know what you did with it. But however you felt when you helped somebody 10 years ago, it's going to feel just as good 10 years later, 50 years later. You're going to feel just as good about that experience. It's going to, that experience, inflation can't fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? And I think for me, getting out of like getting back to blackness as far as a communal standpoint is getting me away from hustle culture, and it's getting me more into myself and just not like with this scattered brain, how I'm gonna do this, type shit. What's y'all thoughts on that?
Yeah, couple things. Like for me, what you said is like, I be talking to my dad a lot, and he was just like, I see it and I hear you. And I've talked 3-4 times a day. He was like, you're so programmed on success, which is great. He was like, you've seen a lot of success. but don't let that blind you from who you are as a person. I'm such a talker. I like sitting down with people. I love giving people free game. Like all of the consulting that I do, and I be telling people, like when it comes to events or anything, like I'm getting to a space where like I want to get the money from the entity and not from the people so much. You know, everything has to run like you're running a business. But even like last Saturday, you know, I posted on my Instagram, I'm like, look, all of the people that, especially people that look like myself, that's what I say. Like everything that I do is for people that look like myself. I'm like, come sit down with me if you need any help, entrepreneur, marketing, social media, or whatnot. Sat there, because I do it every Saturday. I'll go somewhere to work, whether it's Soho, coffee shop, or whatnot. We had like 15 people come up. And this dude, he was 22. He was like, I look at you like as a big brother. He was like, I've been following you for the longest. I'm like, don't look at me as like your big brother. Look at me as just like your peer and somebody you can rely on, you know, because there's not a lot of spaces, especially when you are in that north side of Chicago, right, that we can go. People ask me, where can I go to go see my people? Where can I go here? Oh, shit, I don't know. I'm like, unless it's an event, I have no really idea where to send you. I would be sending you off. Right. So I've been so programmed, and especially since outside of college and really getting back around my people, is how can we just have what I call like a slow morning? We could all sit down, chop it up. You could tell me, Kevin, I want to make 30,000 on social media. Okay, let me tell you how to do that. Or you went through a breakup and you ain't got no friends. I'll be taking it for granted. I know so many motherfuckers. There's people out in the universe that don't have nobody.
Yeah.
Right? So me giving up my morning to sit down and allow people to tap into my network, and you just met 15 people, when I be seeing shit like that, that means the world to me. So I'm so big on community. I think a lot of people preach that a lot, but especially like for me, like I'll sit down and talk to a motherfucker for hours that I just met. Just because I'm just like, you might need that. Just like I might need that. I'll be so programmed. I'm like, let me just sit down and just like get away from events, get away from the business and just chop it up as human beings. So I see it a lot in Chicago. People are craving for it. That's why like I'm working with a lot of different programs and different entities just to give you somewhere to go, just so everything isn't pay to play as well.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. And community for me, it's been instinctive. Like you said, we just communal people.
Yeah.
And I've been building communities and been a part of communities subconsciously this whole time. So like I have a fitness group that I started, like accountability group, right? And even before, it's so crazy. I'm doing the same thing that I did years ago, again with, you know what I'm saying, the accountability group. But for years before I started this, I started it like in maybe February or March or some shit like that. I think it was March. But before that, I'm just people. I branded myself as like this, you know, a fitness person, and I have conversations with people in my DM all the time. You know what I'm saying? Just giving out free game, giving out free advice, giving meal plans, or whatever the case may be. And people will always be like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you should be like a trainer. I never ever desired to make money from fitness. Like I just really enjoyed it. I enjoy the gym community. It's a gym community. Like it's a culture.
Gym bros, yeah.
Gym, like, you know, that shit is real.
Right.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that part of it. And then I'm like, you know what? It finally made sense. It finally clicked. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then bro helped me out. And I started a community, and it like gained like 100 people in a month.
Right.
But it was so, I didn't even see it as like, I'm building community, or I'm building like this space where everybody could come. Like to have 100 people in a group, and they're all talking, they're all interacting, there's no weird shit going on, and they feel comfortable. You got different levels, you know what I'm saying? You got somebody who's like out of shape, they're trying to get in shape. You got somebody who like kind of like teeter back and forth. It's all different levels in there, but everybody feels comfortable enough to interact. Nobody feels shame posting their body, like they don't feel judged or anything like that. You got to really create a safe space for somebody to want to come in and participate in something like that. And I've been doing stuff like that organically. Like, are you familiar with like network marketing companies?
Yeah.
I had one of those, you know what I'm saying, about 10 years ago. And like it happened so organically. I'm an extrovert. I like people. I talk. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I do. And even with that, I built one of the largest teams, you know what I'm saying, in Chicago at that time. It was a bunch of young people, and it was fun. And I actually, like, the people who was mentoring me, they saw it from a business standpoint, like, oh, this nigga good. We gonna. But for me, that's just what I do.
Right.
So community is extremely important, and it comes natural to me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Something that I said like in that video that you're referencing, it was like white people are always around like their own people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it was like as black people, one, minorities in general, but black people, we always have to assimilate everywhere, right? And then doing so much assimilation, like you might want to be isolated at the same time. So something that I'm seeing just because I meet so many people through events, and then I be telling people like and they do it. I'm like, if you see me like in person, you want to chop it up, come chop it up. I'm a regular motherfucker. You know, don't like look at the followers or whatnot and think like I won't have a conversation. I'm like, I'm the most regular person, because all of the, whether it's a young professional, somebody that just moved to Chicago, let's say they got relocated from Houston, they don't know nobody. Like, come meet me, come meet like our people. Like that's what we need, especially what I'm seeing in Chicago is just being together more, whether that's at an event, coffee shop, just a run anywhere. Like
I'm not gonna lie, I think your impact gonna be bigger than event space, and I say that because Chicago is a great city. It's not looked at that like that by black people on the outside looking in. You go somewhere else in America around black people and say you're from Chicago, it's Chirac, you from 63rd, all this other shit.
You know Chief Keef?
And it's just all negative shit.
Yeah.
And I think that between what you doing, the boat scene now is like all over TikTok. There's so many people from out of town like coming. It's almost like you just said, he compared it to the Houston rodeo. Like it's about to be a thing to where black people are coming to Chicago for something positive. I think you doing what you doing is going to, it might end up making Chicago a transplant city, like in the long run. Like I don't know what it looks like 15 years from now. I know that other people who do parties in Chicago affected on a Chicago level. I haven't seen so many people affected on a national level. And I think when people get here and see what this city got to offer in the summertime, motherfuckers is gonna be like, hey, that's somewhere I would live at. Like, you know, it's only maybe 2 cities in America that I feel like you wouldn't leave for Chicago.
What's that?
That's Houston and New York. Anywhere else, I could see you leaving for Chicago.
For sure.
And if you want to be cleaner, you would leave New York too.
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah. Shout out to New York, but you know what? I want to keep our New York fans.
Anywhere else, like Atlanta, like no. But another thing I want to talk about with reclaiming blackness, getting back to roots, and it being like a thing of healing. I've always been in a space where I understood that being black in America is difficult because we might be the only people on the planet that don't have a country, a nation behind us. I talk about this all the time. How like, you know, if the police kill a bunch of Japanese people, Japan is going to say something. Police kill a bunch of Nigerian people, Nigeria is going to say something. Mexico will say something. With black people, there's no country coming for, like, there's no protection. Like, this is where we are, right? And we're not really from, people debate all the time whether you're from here or not. I don't want to go into the third tribe of Judah and all that shit. But, you know, that's what it is, right? And I struggle with that. I also struggle with the thought of looking at the American flag and not feeling connected to it. I've never felt patriotism in my heart, ever. I never looked at the American flag and felt
I've never felt no type of pride.
You get what I'm saying? I feel like the only time you get to feel that way as a black person, the only time you get to be American as a black person is if you're in the Olympics or in the Army, right? Because that's when you're called in America. You're African American, Mexican American, Asian American. White people are just American. I never heard a nigga be called a European American in my life. You're a Russian American. I never heard this shit. They're just American, and we're like the subcategories of that. And it's hard to take pride in that. And I was listening to 19 Keys talk about how we search for our identity in Africa when really it's here. And he talked about how much, you know, we know the stories of black history. We might not value them as much as we should about the shit we came from and how resilient our people are. And we might not be educated enough on it. We know the big names, the Malcolm X's, the Garveys, the Kings and shit. But there's so many other stories, right? And he also, one point he made that was crazy to me. He was like, black people in America, the 500, 600 years that we've been here, that black American culture is more long-standing than a lot of countries in Africa. There's a lot of countries in Africa that aren't 500 years old because they separated from another country and now they're, you know what I'm saying, they got their independence and now they got their flag. They like, black Americans have more history, more lineage than whole countries in Africa. Why are we going over there to figure out who we are? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever blood we have from that, that shit don't matter as much as what happened in the last 500 years. And I'm just like, damn, it made me get a new sense of pride in that. And I feel like that's also healing because identity is important, bro. You know what I'm saying? Identity is important. That's really what this whole conversation is about. So I do think like reclaiming blackness from whatever standpoint. I'm from the hood. It could be somebody that's not from the hood, whatever the case may be. We all get away from it, especially when money get involved. We all get away from blackness in a sense. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't see that happening for me.
What you mean?
Getting away from like the blackness and just I feel like,
Yeah.
Again, I also grew up in it. You know what I'm saying? Like in it. So it's truly who I am.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm gonna get enough money to where I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna forget about this shit. I guess.
Well, that's not quite what I mean.
Okay, that's
When
how
I
I
mean
took
that,
it.
I mean like on the capitalism side, on the individualism side, on like the values of blackness. Like capitalism make you step away from that, like unknowingly, right? Like I'll give you an example. We talk about gentrification, right?
Yeah.
What's the problem with gentrification? Are we mad that white people want to live in a black neighborhood? Is that the problem with gentrification?
No.
The problem, right?
You're right.
The problem is like you're making money in this neighborhood and you're not putting it back in the neighborhood, right? So you own these houses here, and if I don't want to make this breakdown too long, but let's say us three, right? I got a tire shop, you got a clinic, you have a grocery store, and we live in the same neighborhood. It's us three. We got other friends and shit too. When I need, groceries, I put money in your pocket. You need tires, you put money in my pocket. We need to go to the doctor, right? And we all own our homes, and we rotate. The money stays in our community. Let's say we decide one day, let's all open up a tire shop, a doctor, and a grocery store in their neighborhood, right? And we go over there. So when they get a paycheck, right? Or when they spend their money, that money comes back to our neighborhood. But let's say we also say, you know what? We're going to buy apartment buildings over there too. So not only do they work for us, they live in our houses. So when they get their check from us, they end up paying us rent, and all of their money come back to us. It's going to create a wealth gap between them and us. So that's what gentrification, that's the problem with gentrification, creates a wealth gap. If a black person moves from that neighborhood to our neighborhood and owns a home here and spends their money at our stores and owns a bunch of buildings over there, they're doing the same shit. You're helping the wealth gap. It don't matter that you're black. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing. Yeah. So when I say we get away from blackness, it's just like, it's not intentional. It's not like people have great intentions when they say we're going to buy the block, even if they don't want to live. I'm not saying you got to live on the same block that you bought property at, but spending money in black businesses while a bunch of your income is coming from black people is important. I feel like a lot of times we lose sight of that because of capitalism, and we just care about green.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's kind of like talking about like growing up, like my father, for example, like him putting me, let's say, in private school, so moving me out of a location and never coming back. Right. And so we all move out of where we in the Auburn Gresham area, and then we go move. I live in Wicker Park, right? Let's say I go move to Lakeview, or Lincoln Park, and then all of my money, let's say I'm making $1 million a year, it's just into the Lincoln Park neighborhood.
Exactly.
Versus I never come back here and like, let me go revamp this or go put in the, like you said, the dollar store tire shop or whatnot.
Everyday spending.
All right, they'll come, boom, new development, and they going right back to Lincoln Park.
It is going to just create a wealth gap. But it's like, again, like I think somebody that's pro-black and really care about black people will participate in that, but you're not thinking about that because capitalism is so it's ingrained in who we are too, but that's part of whiteness as well. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So it's just it's a difficult game that we play, that we kind of gotta play at the same time too. It's a tough balance for sure. What we at? What time we at? 58. Let's hit this Patreon real quick. You got man's perspective?
Yeah. Oh, what we talked about, the like the series type shit on discipline.
Yeah, go ahead, go for it.
Facts. So it's like 10. I say it's like 10 steps to discipline, right? To develop the practice of it and everything. But like step one, you want to start with why, like with anything. Because if you don't know why you're doing something, shit gets hard, you'll stop. So you want to anchor yourself into why you want to be a disciplined. I'm gonna talk to this for the men. You want to anchor yourself on why you want to be a disciplined man. And to me, I associate discipline with manhood. That's just how much it means to me. It's not just about, doing what you said you're gonna do or being consistent or whatever. I see discipline and manhood as it's one of the pillars of manhood. right? So that's why I practice it in everything I do because I associate it with who I am, right? So if you want to, let's say you're not a disciplined person, you're a little bit lazy, you lax, you know, you don't have the practices of being consistent or sticking to things or being integral, stuff like that. If you attach it to why, find out why you want to be this type of person, what that means to you, and if that's important to you, how other people will perceive you, then once you get that down, you'll start to take a step towards being a disciplined man versus practicing discipline.
Yeah.
So, real quick, step one.
Absolutely. Real quick, my advice for boy moms is this. Be consistent. Be consistent with your discipline of your kids. A lot of y'all take my advice, y'all take my steps, put the alarm clock in the room. He don't wake up one time, y'all never DM. I put the alarm clock in there. He didn't wake up. He didn't get up. It didn't work. Well, it's not. It might not work the first time you do it. It has to be a level of consistency of these are the expectations, these are the consequences, and just because it didn't work week 1, week 2, don't mean you stop. Because your kid is smart and they probably know you're gonna stop. Because if you're inconsistent with this new thing, you've probably been inconsistent their whole life with other things. So they know mom's bullshit. I'm gonna get the phone back. I don't give a fuck. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like they get it at this point. So whatever you come up with for disciplining your son, you know, it don't gotta be whooping his ass, kicking his ass, whatever case may be. It could be, hey, when you get home from school, I got the phone, I got the remote control, I got the controllers all in my room already. Right? So it's not a thing of I have to stop you from playing a game and clean up. It's when you get in the house, these are things you have to do to get your phone, to get the remote control, to get the controller. And that shit has to be consistent. It has to be every day until it works. Because if you do it a couple times and they still don't clean up and you fold and give the shit back, then they're never going to clean up. So be consistent. That's my advice for boy moms today, man.
Speaking of, Trey on punishment right now.
Okay.
This nigga, he just got his birthday just passed. He got a bunch of birthday money or whatever. And he called me, I think I might have told you this. He called me like, Dave, let me get $10 right quick. I'm like, I was just finna send it. I'm like, what you need? But he was at school when he called me. I'm like, what you need $10 for? He was like, I'm trying to buy this hoodie. You trying to buy a hood? What is going on? What do you mean? He like, nah, it's $130, but I'm $10 short. I instantly saw what was finna happen. I said, you know what? Don't spend a fucking dollar of none of that money. Any dollar that you want to spend, run it by me so I can monitor what you got going on. I forgot you low-key had all that money. Let's nip this shit in the bud right now. Cool. Right. That was like probably like Monday or Tuesday. Right. My sisters called me today. They was like, I'm not gonna say what they called me, but they was like, I know what they called you. You don't say it. they like, what's going on? They like, how you feeling today? Like you feel good? Like your spirits up? I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I feel good. Like my birthday tomorrow, I'm in a good mood. They was like, I don't know what the fuck you want. They was like, hold on to that feeling. I'm like, fuck is going on, man? They was like, yeah, Trey, he spent like $100 of his money or whatever, and he asked my mama cause he holds some money. He got the money in cash. So he asked my mama, can he get like borrow some money? He was gonna give it back to her, and that stirred up the conversation on why you need the money in the first place. Like, nigga, you should have some money in your account. Long story short, this nigga bought like a hoodie and a jacket or some shit from his friend and gave him $100 for it. After I told your ass not to spend any money. You're right. Soon as I get out, he must have heard me on the phone with my sisters. I didn't have to say anything to him. That nigga know the drill. I walked back in the room. He walked right up to me. I ain't say anything. He gave me the phone. I'm like, you already know what's going on. You on punishment until I tell you you're not. Right. And like, this probably a little over the top, but how I put him on punishment, I don't tell him like, oh, you on punishment for a week or you on punishment for 2 weeks. I set the time in my head and then I just let the time pass. So every single day he's wondering when he's getting off punishment. Right. You know, so right now it's a week. And I told him, if you ask me, I'm gonna add a day to that shit. Yeah. But I'll guarantee you, if it was his mom, he'd have all this shit back in like 2 days. Yeah. We ain't doing that. So ladies, stay consistent. Like, you have to enforce the discipline. Because I guarantee you, after this week, he gonna be good for like at least 3 months. Yeah. Y'all too fucking soft out here on these little niggas. Man, why they 22 years old still playing video games in your house, man? Then they go to trade school. All right. You got anything you want to give them before we get off the main show? Where to find you? All that good stuff.
I ain't really got nothing crazy. I would say follow my Instagram. Anytime somebody, whether it's anything Chicago related or events, My TikTok is really just for anything now. So follow me on Instagram, kevin.p.white. You can find anything Chicago event related. For any events as well. Anytime I set the date and the time, please just be ready because they do something.
We set alarms. We call each other. I'm like, bro, it's gonna go live. You ready?
It was one of the joints, bro, and I had to finesse my way in that joint. Anyway, I'm in here. Fuck that. Your security might need to get a little stronger. I be finessing past but he got the ticket, and it was something wrong with my shit. And I'm like, bro, grab my ticket. I already grabbed it. I went back. It was like 12:04.
Yeah, it was over with.
This shit was a wrap. I'm like, bro, this is like a fucking Beyonce ticket. What the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah, it was a wrap.
Like, this shit is crazy. So, the movement is strong for sure. For sure.
I
I don't think I've seen anything like it when it comes to, like, we're talking about a party. We're not talking about a concert. We're not talking about, like,
party.
The biggest party of the year. We're talking about a Thursday night.
Thursday night.
This shit be gone like a concert, bro.
Yeah. That's
like, I feel like I'm going to log into his shit one time. It's going to be your number 1,300. That was some Chris Brown shit.
Motherfuckers gonna start reselling your tickets.
Somebody told me they did that before. I've actually had quite a few people tell me, like, now I'll like coordinate resale, but a couple people told me like they'll sell it for more. I'm just like,
what are you doing?
By all means, like,
Hey, I don't get blue magic. You caught dog shit. Just put respect on my name.
We gonna find his shit on StubHub. But all right, man. Again, as we always say, man, whatever you chasing in life, make sure you keep your foot on the gas. Give it everything you got to get what you want out of life, man. Decide, plan, sacrifice.
Shoot.
We out.
So God in me.